Welcome to ESVN, the Emma Sports Vigeland Network show. My name is Emma Vigeland. Hello, 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 everybody. It is ESVN OT, where we give our picks against the spread and our picks for Survivor. Say hello to Bradley Alsop, who is falling a bit behind. Went 0-3 last week. I went 2-1.
I don't want to keep doing this anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, we still have... Okay, officially next week we will decide on the punishment. So
let's
comment below. Comment on it.
Stall.
No. We decide now. We've waited way too long, and I had to eat the cheese on camera. Okay.
Okay. Make drafts of the comments, but forget to post them.
Okay. Do not. It reduces our engagement. How dare you?
Yeah, I would do anything to get out of this.
Well,
I'd sabotage our own program.
Week 10, we're more than halfway through the regular season at this point. 18 weeks plus a bye for each team. Let's just get right into it, because we've got really nothing else on the docket. Our locks. What do you call graphic? Thank you to Dan from the internet. ESVN
Stone Cold Lock of the Century all week.
Yeah, totally false advertising for me.
Oh yeah, well,
at this point in time,
the badassery of it.
These are not locks.
Well,
to every state a gambling body watching the show, none of mine are guarantees. Seeing as I am, I think, 12 picks under 500 at this point.
We
with
can
two pushes.
They can definitely not get us for claiming that, right? They can maybe get us for false advertising. These are certainly not locks, but I don't know. I'm starting to feel myself a little bit, just going with my gut. We'll get right into it here. So overall, last week I went 2-1. The New Orleans Saints did not cover the 8.5-point spread, which was my one loss, but they did win that game. The other two I covered. The Eagles won by more than 3 points, and the Bengals destroyed the Bills. And you had the Bills +2. I had the Bengals -2, so you lost that one. What else were your picks for last week?
I'm trying to forget them already. Packers Rams, I believe.
Yes.
You
had +3 Rams.
Yeah,
that did not happen.
Extremely inaccurate. And
then Dolphins -2.
Dolphins Chiefs, correct.
Dolphins
yeah.
Chiefs,
so,
yeah.
You know.
All right.
Great predictions by me.
Well,
doing great.
Yeah, it's
at least my survivor, my corpse pick worked out though. Saints did end up winning. So
yes, they did. Yes, they did. All right, I'm going tonight with Thursday Night Football. Shockingly enough, this seems like a poor choice, but I don't know. It just stuck out to me, and I feel like the Carolina Panthers do have a good coaching staff. And they're going to have to start stealing some wins here. Justin Fields is doubtful. It seems like it's going to be Tyson Bagent again. And he's been pretty good, based on expectations. I like how he looks on the field. He's long, and he has, some physical tools that you can work with. But it doesn't seem like he's making very complicated reads. And the Carolina Panthers defense, even though the team is not very good, is quite well coached. So if Bryce Young can just be not horrible like he was in last game, where he averaged 4.4 yards per attempt and threw 3 interceptions, if they can just get him to manage the game a little bit better, I do think that the Carolina Panthers defense is going to turn the Chicago Bears over at least once or twice, and that should allow them for a more advantageous kind of field position. So my sense is just like it's going to be a complete slop fest. I'm taking it, maybe 19-17 or something like that for the Carolina Panthers. I think they win this game.
It's also probably contingent on a weakness versus a weakness, in the sense of that potentially maybe the Panthers offensive line can capitalize on a little bit of a rudderless Bears front. But the thing is, there is still that rudderlessness, but now there is the addition of Montez Sweat, who is a pretty good pass rusher. And, they did sign him to a long-term deal, so at least it seems like he is in their future, Montez Sweat in Chicago. against the Panthers offensive line, who, as I was saying on Monday, has been one of, if not maybe the most disappointing unit to me in the entire league. A unit that I thought would be like kind of closer to a top 10 unit is like extremely, extremely bad.
I mean, we're
Ike
seeing
Ekwonu has like regressed dramatically.
So
since the
has
second
Evan
half
Neal.
of last season.
It's odd. I think, that we're starting to see that a lot of these offensive linemen are having some real growing pains coming into the NFL.
Right, totally.
It's just, I think the complications of the protections, it's just they need more time.
And teams are scoring
than
less
other
this year. Like
positions.
defenses, I just think have been more effective this year.
Yeah. And we see that in terms of like there are more good pass rushers and interior defensive linemen than there are good offensive linemen at every position. So I think the defense is going to get home here, and it's a total trash bowl, and there's no real incentive, honestly, for the Chicago Bears to want to win this because they are in tank. Well, I mean, I guess they have a little bit more motivation, I should say. But this is just a gut feel. Even if the Bears win, I don't think it's by more than a field goal. So I'm going with the Carolina Panthers plus 3.5.
Yes, in the shit bowl, in the toilet bowl.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. And you, Bradley, you're taking the Colts in the German game.
Second German game in a row, and that really worked out well for me the first time.
I like this pick, though, because the Colts have looked much better than the Patriots, and the Patriots were an embarrassment against
Colts are
the
looking,
Commanders last week.
Yeah, Colts I think are looking good for the most part on both ends of the. I think even with Gardner Minshew managing the offense, I like a lot of what I've seen from Josh Downs, their rookie wide receiver. I think he's been playing really well. Bernard Raymond, their left tackle, second-year guy, he's come into his own a little bit after a struggle of a first year. And to their credit from last week's game, 2 pick sixes by Kenny Moore.
Oh, yeah.
Which obviously I think is, a rare occurrence to be sure, 2 in a row by the same guy. But at least it seems as if DeForest Buckner and a few other guys on that defense are playing better football, especially since last year because their defense was a disaster last year. I know it's neutral site, so things could get weird, but the Patriots have just looked so bad.
Mac Jones looks horrible. He's making all the wrong decisions, and he's so bitchy.
The offense outside of Ramondre Stevenson, every aspect just looks so anemic and off and without rhythm. The offensive line has not been playing very well. Like you said, Mac either looks out of sorts, extremely irritated, and at some points almost, I said this prior, some other people have observed this as well. There are times almost when it looks like he's like rebelling against the scheme. Like he's doing stuff. When you're exactly to your point when you're saying he's not even like making the right reads, sometimes it almost seems like, this is me speculating, obviously, and it's slightly in jest, but like it seems almost like he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like he just seems so unhappy, and the vibes in this team are putrid right now. Despite having I've always thought this Patriots defense is still pretty good, even with Christian Gonzalez out for the season. But I just think the Colts are both better units, and I think that just the vibes and the
what they're playing
disposition
for,
of the team is so much better than the Patriots is right now.
Yeah, and in terms of right now, like the way that the way that Shane Steichen is calling the offensive plays, it's just like it looks better than both sides of the ball.
Yeah, there's just
for the Patriots.
There's just a real, regardless of personnel, a real soundness with Steichen's play calling, which I think is really encouraging as a Colts fan, especially for when Anthony Richardson returns.
Yeah, next year. Right.
Yeah, so I think I still feel very positively, even if they've lost some close games or even if they've faltered. I just think like the process is sound enough, whereas the Patriots just seem to be like, I think of a week or two more and this goes into real free fall.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm hoping the Patriots win though, because the Giants are in tank mode, and I want that pick to go right to the top.
That's right.
To the Caleb Williams and Drake Mabel. But that's enough about me. I am going with the Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns -6.5 at home. The Ravens have blown out their last 2 home opponents, both 2 good NFC teams, the Lions and the Seahawks. I mean, it was a complete blowout in both of those games. The Baltimore Ravens look like, maybe the best team in football right now. They're that good. And
on both ends, truly, like as an both sides, especially last week, underscored the way they can dominate, even if Lamar isn't necessarily the engine in that,
And if he needs to be, they can win that way
right,
too.
right.
And like that, they just have really very few weaknesses. And on defense, they're just like starting to really come together. Kyle
Totally.
Hamilton is looking like, the first round pick that he was. And they just always have the ability to get home with their pass rush. Jedrick Wills is going to be out for a while, the left tackle for the Browns. So
huge.
I could see the Ravens blowing up Deshaun Watson, who will be playing a few times, maybe forcing him into a mistake. It's not like he's been the most pinpoint passer around. I don't trust that offense.
No, not. I mean, even with some of the guys on the offensive line who I think are good, obviously like Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio. Even with that, I just like, is the run game enough to withstand what will probably be, unless we see something different, like a probably relatively anemic performance by Watson behind center. And also I would still, in a unit matchup for all of these, I think I'm still feeling very confident in the Ravens defense against, definitely also in terms of past performance. I mean, they blew out both the Seahawks and the Lions, who I would argue have significantly better offenses and better schemes than the Browns to begin with. And I think the offensive game plan will still be, I think, unique enough or creative enough to withstand a great, good to great Browns defense. It's obviously cooled off a little bit since they're being the number one defense in the league. But
yeah. I mean, they're getting a little more inconsistent, and I also think that Myles Garrett, there's one way to neutralize him, and it's to have a quarterback who can be elusive and get out of pressure, and that's Lamar Jackson. Plus, I'm incredibly encouraged that the passing game has come along, but the run game is really starting to find its form for the Baltimore Ravens.
It makes them so dangerous.
Oh yeah,
to have that.
The Ravens could win the Super Bowl this year. I mean,
I completely agree.
If the Ravens or the Bengals win the Super Bowl, I'll be very happy. I'm big fans of those.
We love our
squads.
AFC North teams.
I mean, badasses. So I'll also just say I think that the Browns going from a completely honestly easy win against a very hapless Cardinals squad.
Yeah,
exactly. Shut them out,
it's
to the Baltimore Ravens. It's just whiplash. So
the degree of competition for both teams is like inverse almost.
Exactly.
Like beating the Cardinals as opposed to beating the Lions and the Seahawks, and beating them convincingly is the difference. And I also just want to highlight Geno Stone, who is kind of a cast off. I think coming out of the offseason is playing just amazing at safety.
Oh yeah, he had a bunch of sacks.
And
last
PBUs
game.
and stuff. He's really been all over the place. I'm so impressed with the composition of this defense and what Mike Macdonald has done with them. I think he's a younger guy. I think there's a chance bless you.
Thank you.
I think there's a shot that he gets considered for some head coaching opportunities relatively soon.
Oh yeah. I mean, I hear that. Sorry, go on.
And my next pick here is Niners -3 against the Jaguars. I think this will be an interesting, fun game because I think it'll be interesting. It'll be good to see. I believe it seems as if Deebo Samuel will play or is on track to play. So that's relief, I think, for the Niners as a team and for their fans. It's probably also good that they had a bye week to kind of reset, get some guys right potentially, as obviously with the case with Deebo seemingly him playing, and then are the Jaguars also coming off a bye as well, or is it no, they played? Am I wrong?
No, they are coming off a bye.
So both teams coming off a bye, so that'll be interesting. Two rested teams, but I think the Niners at this point, I love this Jaguars team as well. I think they've honestly been a little underrated in terms of the, real dogfight that is the AFC playoff
they're
picture.
So young, so that makes them inconsistent. So people don't really know this.
Exactly,
much.
And I think their highs are very high, but then they can also kind of falter a little bit as well. But I think the offense has been pretty solid and steady under Trevor Lawrence, but I think the defense has really taken a step up from last year, so that's been very encouraging. I just think the Niners, after 3 straight losses, are probably going to be smarting to take advantage of a team, and I think that they could really. I'm thinking that there could be a Bengals 49ers resurgence coming our way, just because I feel like very rarely does Kyle Shanahan allow his team to really falter significantly going into the second half of the season. So I think McCaffrey will be in, Debo in, Kittle in, maybe still not with Trent Williams potentially, but I think this team is still coming into focus and coming into further prominence than they already have. I am less bearish on them, like really, really downturning despite 3 straight losses. And I think that's mostly a testament to how much faith I have in Kyle Shanahan and how much faith I have in the skill position players. But I really think that we're going to get a turnaround from the Niners.
I hear you. I just think this is a risky game. Like, I mean, the Jaguars have the ability to be explosive and they're at home. So that's my one fear about that. But I mean, look, we have some risky picks on here. Both, I think the Panthers pick and your Niners pick is the more risky one on that we have going on here. So my final pick here, I'm going to take the Seahawks -6.5 at home against Washington. I just feel like the Seahawks have, as is well documented, great home field advantage, and they're going to be pissed after getting smacked around last week by Baltimore, where Pete Carroll, had really hyped up that matchup and had said, this is a real test for us. This is a really exciting moment for us to really prove ourselves. And they failed pretty spectacularly. And so when they're at home, they're going to be coming off, a difficult loss. They're way more talented than I think they appeared in that Ravens game. They really just collapsed there. So they're going to be on their P's and Q's. And Mac Jones gave away that game to the Commanders last week. The Commanders have lost 2 of their best players via trade. They're tearing it all down. That's going to infect the locker room at a certain point. And going all the way across the country, after playing on the East Coast, having to play in Seattle, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, with a team that's incredibly hungry and really wants to stay ahead of the 49ers in this division race, I'm taking the Seahawks -6.5 at home.
Yeah, and also I just think we still are going to see the same problems that the Commanders have been experiencing all year, which is that, like, Sam Howell can show some real explosiveness and some real kind of creativity as a passer.
Second in the NFL in passing yards right now. Unreal.
Which I think just goes to show that he really has he's an ambitious player a la Josh Allen. Obviously not same talent or anything like that. I just mean he's always looking downfield, always trying to make a big play.
And the enemy's an ambitious coordinator.
But it comes to his detriment at times, and also especially with the low quality of this offensive line. And the Seahawks pass rush, I think, struggled and had some kind of they were a little mistake prone against the Ravens last week, and I don't think there will be as nearly as much opposition as they expect. Like, there is not a Ronnie Stanley or Tyler Linderbaum, in the bunch in Washington. So I think they'll have a bit more success against that offensive line in Washington.
Yep. I'm with you there. All right, your final pick, and I like this one too. The Lions -3 in LA against the Chargers.
Yeah. So even though the Chargers unfortunately did, make it, my Jets made the Chargers defense look like the '85 Bears. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and Tuli Tuipulotu and other guys were looking like Lawrence Taylor clones, despite being one of the worst, or one of the worst, definitely one of the worst pass defenses, but an average to okay run defense. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I definitely trust the Lions more to capitalize on the weaknesses of this defense more than I do the Jets. And I think this Lions defense, even though it's had a few struggles, I think struggling against the Ravens offense is not nearly as much of a mark on somebody as struggling against a lesser a lesser defense or a lesser team. So them getting blown out by the Ravens, I see that more as like that's a testament to the Ravens. I don't think it really is.
Also, they're indoors, where Jared Goff is a much better thrower.
So he has that on his side as well in the dome.
Back in LA, in the stadium he used to play in.
Oh my gosh, that's right, in SoFi. So I just think that, like, I take nothing away from the Chargers having a resounding win against the Jets, because the Jets, I think, are, as I was saying to you before the show in less calm terms, are extremely, extremely poorly coached. Have no game plan to beat teams, and are
they're very reliant on their talent.
Yes, which in that talent that likes to commit back-breaking, boneheaded penalties seemingly every 3 plays.
Yeah.
So I think this team is just overall better, and I think -3 is
I mean, the Chargers
definitely
didn't
foreseeable.
Look good. The Chargers offense looked horrible against the Jets. They had a punt return Then there was a turnover, which put the Chargers in the red zone. But like then they were up 14-0
The Jets fumbled
against
3
the Jets.
times.
Yeah.
They had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's like-
and Zach Wilson is just not playing well whatsoever. But no one on the offense seems to be playing well whatsoever. So
And Jahmyr Gibbs is back with and David Montgomery as well.
David Montgomery's on his way back.
The two-headed
yeah.
dragon, I think, will potentially be in effect. They can have a more kind of formidable run blocking presence as well as red zone rushing attack that they were kind of relying on Montgomery for. Hopefully, obviously, as having Jahmyr Gibbs on my fantasy team, he still gets some touches. But
yeah.
If more Montgomery in the snap share means that this bet converts, no problem.
All right. Well, we are both going also with the Seahawks for our survivor pick. So that is, for me, the Carolina Panthers in Chicago tonight, plus 3.5. The Baltimore Ravens at home against Cleveland, minus 6.5. The Seahawks, minus 6.5 at home against the Commanders. And then Bradley has the Colts in Germany against New England, minus 2. The San Francisco 49ers in Jacksonville, minus 3. The Lions, minus 3. In LA, facing the Chargers, and our survivor pick is the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle.
And just one quick programming note: my picks count for 12 points.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and
How did you
yours
come
count,
to that?
And yours count for 1.
How did you come to that calculation?
Just because I was thinking, I'm 7-18-2, so I need 11 to get to 500. So I'm thinking I would just get 12.
Fair.
And then I would just triple it. So
but your losses also are tripled then. You
No.
wanna go triple
So
or nothing?
If I lose, it just evens out. It's a wash. 0-0-0. Yours. For yours, they don't count if you win, but they count for the same as mine if you lose. So
Okay.
you get deducted like 12 for each loss, but if you win, it's just 0.
I mean, this is typical of the misogynistic left, just minimizing women and rigging the system in their favor.
I am stuck between a rock and a hard place. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess rig the rules.
I'm fighting
in
for
your
my
favor.
life here.
Yeah. All right, John Harbaugh, steal my signs, what have you. Jim, damn it, Jim.
Stop it.
I should stop besmirching John. All right, guys, that's it for this week. We will see you on Monday reacting to all of this. Appreciate you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.